Alabama is the greatest program in college football history. But for all the great teams that the Crimson Tide have produced over the years, their 2020 squad stands above the rest. Alabama was entering the 2020 season coming off what qualified as a disappointing 2-year stretch for their standard. They were humiliated in the 2018 national title game by Clemson and leapfrogged by LSU for SEC supremacy in 2019. And per usual, Alabama had lost a lot of star talent to the NFL on both sides of the ball. Adding to that difficulty, the 2020 college football season was a complete outlier, with the COVID pandemic disrupting many of the core traditions that we associate with the sport. You had home games being played in front of empty stadiums, the availability of players and coaches constantly up in the air, and a regular season largely devoid of signature non-conference matchups due to travel restrictions. With so much in disarray, many of the best programs in the country struggled mightily, but Alabama was not one of those teams. Dynasties aren't built overnight, and Nick Saban had been assembling this roster for years. The foundation was laid with Alabama's top-ranked 2017 recruiting class, which brought in core pieces like running back Najee Harris, offensive tackle Alex Leatherwood, wide receiver Devontae Smith, and quarterback Mac Jones. Subsequent classes added even more star power, including cornerback Pat Surtain II, wide receiver Jalen Waddle, and edge Will Anderson Jr. Many of those players gained meaningful starting experience early in their careers, allowing Alabama to return tons of proven production for the 2020 season. Mac Jones had started 4 games during Tua Tagovailoa's absence the year before. Devontae Smith caught the national championship-winning touchdown as a freshman and was coming off a breakout junior season. Najee Harris had established himself as the team's leading rusher, and 4 offensive line starters were back, including all-conference performers in Landon Dickerson and Leatherwood. Previous championship teams under Nick Saban had leaned on their defense and run game, overwhelming opponents with physicality. But by 2020, that formula had flipped entirely, with Bama developing into an offensive juggernaut powered by an explosive passing attack. Under offensive coordinator Steve Sarkisian, 2020 Alabama fielded one of the greatest offenses the sport has ever seen. They averaged 48.5 points per game, the highest mark of the Saban era, and more than even LSU's legendary 2019 team on a per-game basis. Mac Jones was outstanding, completing 77.4% of his passes, the second highest single-season mark ever for a starting quarterback. Najee Harris built on his breakout year with a dominant senior season, averaging 6 yards per carry, and Devontae Smith delivered one of the greatest receiving seasons in history, finishing with the 5th most touchdown catches ever in a single season. As a unit, Alabama averaged 7.8 yards per play and 11 yards per pass attempt. So nearly every snap was a first down waiting to happen, and they never committed more than 1 turnover in any game. Defensively, the Tide fell short of their typically historic standard, but still featured a top 15 defense nationally. The defensive line, led by Christian Barmore and true freshman Will Anderson Jr., ranked among the nation's best, producing the 7th most sacks in the country and allowing just 3.3 yards per carry. And while the secondary was more vulnerable, they still finished in the top 20 in pass efficiency allowed. Even with the defensive drop-off, the offense was so overwhelmingly great that it really didn't matter. Alabama won all but 1 game by at least 2 touchdowns and scored 50 or more points in 7 of their 13 games. Even in their closest game, the SEC championship against Florida, they outgained the Gators by nearly 150 yards and allowed a garbage time touchdown to make it a 1-score game. In the rare moments they were challenged, the offense simply shifted gears, like their midseason clash with number 3 Georgia, where they scored 21 unanswered points in the second half to erase a halftime deficit and win the game by 17 points. At the end of the regular season, the Tide swept nearly every major award there was to hand out. Devontae Smith won the Heisman, the first receiver to win the award since 1991. Mac Jones won the Davey O'Brien Award as the nation's best quarterback. Najee Harris won the Doak Walker Award as the nation's best running back, Alex Leatherwood and Landon Dickerson were both recognized as the nation's best linemen at their respective positions, and Pat Surtain was named the SEC Defensive Player of the Year and was a unanimous All-American. All that remained to cement this team's legacy was delivering in the college football playoff, and unsurprisingly, they dominated there as well. They cruised past Notre Dame in the semifinals, then humiliated Ohio State 52-24 in the national championship. To put their championship game dominance into perspective, DeVonta Smith had 12 catches, 215 yards, and 3 touchdowns in the first half, putting up a legendary performance without taking a single snap in the second half due to an injury. After the season, 6 of the team's players were taken in the first round of the 2021 NFL Draft. In total, 27 players from the squad were eventually drafted. Despite these losses, Alabama would keep the machine rolling, winning the SEC in 2021 and making the national championship game once again. But 2020 marked the final time that Saban would win the title. For the greatest coach in college football history, it was a fitting finale. In his endless pursuit to bend the sport to his will, no team ever came closer to achieving that vision than this one.